So, normally when it comes to drugs, I try my best to practice harm reduction and make sure I'm being careful while doing them, which for the most part I think I've done pretty well, but this trip specifically was a time where I did a really bad job at thinking things through and making sure I'd be as safe as possible beforehand. But it started when I was talking to my friends about doing DPH again, and I told them I wanted to do a deliriant dose of DPH this time, even though I'd already been delirious on DPH before. After talking to them for a while, the dose I decided on was 600 milligrams of DPH with 300 milligrams of DXM. Now, 600 milligrams of DPH on its own is already a really high dose of DPH, but with 300 milligrams of DXM on top of it, that's a really intense trip. I think the DXM on top of it is what pushed me over, and I guess I'd just gotten used to doing DXM on DPH, and I didn't think about how much stronger it would make it, so that's my bad. But when the day of the trip came, I went over to my friend's house and we walked to a nearby store to buy the DPH and DXM stuff, and after we bought them, I went back to his place for a bit and then went home a little bit later, and when I got home I just rested until it was time for the trip. Once it was late enough at night and I felt like I was ready, I took everything and I laid on my bed until it kicked in a bit. Pretty soon after it started to kick in, I went to the bathroom and laid on the floor with all the lights off. I always did this on DPH, and it was always a dumb idea because if someone needed to use the bathroom or something, I'd probably get caught because I wouldn't be able to respond or answer to them. And that actually did end up happening this trip, but I'll get to that in a little bit. So after laying down for a little bit, I started to get some visuals. I saw a toy train go around on a track on the floor, and I saw a toy airplane fly around the bathroom, and I also saw my mom's friend in a room that looked like a kitchen from a fake window on the bathroom wall. And not long after I started getting visuals, I also started feeling really weird and slow mentally, and I kind of compared the vibe of DPH to a gross looking bald man in my head, but then I was like, no, I can't insult my cool hipster drug. DPH is cool. Because I thought DPH was really cool and underrated back then. A little bit after that, I started thinking I was in a Discord call with my friends, and I was talking to them out loud, but I wasn't really in a call with them. And I think I was already starting to black out at this point, but before I did fully, I remember I saw this really cool looking rainbow portal on the bathroom wall, and I like to think that it was the portal to Eiriel, which, if you don't know, is supposed to be the name of the other world you go to when you fully break through on DPH and walk around fully in a dream world. And I know there's not really any logic to DPH, and it's just your brain making up dumb images, but it's still fun to think that was a sign that I was close to breaking through or something. But pretty soon after I saw the portal, I blacked out fully, and I don't remember anything until my mom and dad found me in there. They heard me making weird noises from downstairs, I guess, and they forced the door open and found me laying on the floor in the dark. And I was too fucked up to come up with a lie or anything, so I told them that I took DPH when they asked me about it, and I kind of blacked out again, but the next thing I remember was really weird and funny. My mom and I were on my bed in my room, and she asked me if I'd been doing drugs since I got caught the first time. But when I looked at her, she looked exactly like my friend Tony, who had gotten me into drugs. So I answered yeah, duh. You already know that, dude. But, because I thought she was him. But when she responded to me, she transformed back into herself. And I was really fucking confused. It was so weird. But after that, I pretty much blacked out the rest of the night. The only other thing I kind of remember is I remember thinking it was the next morning for some reason, and my grandparents were calling me to the living room. So I got up and I ran as fast as I could to the living room, but I knocked over my TV and I ran into the wall because my motor skills weren't functioning properly. But after that, I don't remember shit. All I remember after that is waking up, feeling like total shit the next day. The DPH hangover was hitting me super hard. And on top of that, I ended up scratching my eye really bad at some point during the trip. I couldn't even open it because it hurt so bad. But soon after that, my mom came in and talked to me some more about what happened, and the first thing she said was that I was sniffling a lot, and she asked me if I snorted the DPH to take it, and I was really confused, and I told her that's not something you can do with it, and she was like, oh, well, you said you snorted caffeine pills with your friends before, which I had done before, but I don't know how the fuck that came up while I was blacked out. I don't know why I felt like telling her that, so that just made me more confused. But after that, she told me some more of what I was doing while I was blacked out, basically saying that I was walking around and screaming and talking to like the walls and invisible people and shit, and like all night, and she had to try to calm me down. And I explained myself a little bit more, and I apologized to her, and she did end up giving me a punishment afterwards. I think it was like I couldn't talk to my friends on Discord for a couple weeks, but I don't remember it being that bad, because honestly, my mom has always been kind of bad at punishing me harshly for things. Yeah, so I don't really remember that well, because it wasn't that bad. I also think later that day, my dad took me to the doctor because of my eye, and I got some eye drop to help with it, and eventually my eye did heal, but it took like a couple weeks, and it was really annoying and painful. But after all this happened and everything was said and done, I just mostly came out of it feeling like a moron, because I don't know, it was a big wake-up call that DPH wasn't worth it, and a big wake-up call that I'm not always as safe as I think I am when it comes to drugs. And I also felt awful that my family had to see me like that, because I knew it was probably really scary. But despite all that, I still did end up doing DPH one more time, because I guess I never learned my lesson when I should. So there's one more DPH report coming after this, and once I finish that, I can finally move on from the DPH era and start talking about the other trips I've had with other drugs. And thank you so much for listening to this. Sorry it's kind of short, but I literally blacked out like 90% of the trip, so there wasn't really that much to talk about. But yeah, thank you for listening anyway, and be sure to check the description for more info about DPH and DXM, and also the song title and other stuff. And I'll see you in the next video. Goodbye.